Today I'm sharing this 2-for-1 background technique using products from the brand new Altenew Summer Adventure Standalone die release. Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. If you like this video then please do give me a thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed I'd really love it if you would consider it. So here is the brand new Morrocan Lattice. Yeah, I felt like I'd said that wrong, but it is, that's right. Morrocan Lattice cover die. And I love it. So I decided to cut it from some Hint of Gold, that's just what it's called, pearl cardstock that I've got. Again, everything will be linked if you are interested in shopping. So yeah, I decided to cut it from that. And when it came out of my die machine, near enough all of the pieces, I did add my metal shim because it is quite intricate, but yeah, when I took it out, nearly all of the pieces, the negative pieces, had stayed in the die. You can see there. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's got to be done. So we're going to be doing a 2-for-1. So we've got the positive, which is the actual cover die portion that you would normally use, and then we've got the negative, which are all the bits that are cut out of it. So I grabbed out my cardstock swatch thing to try and find some cardstocks that I thought would look nice with this touch of gold pearly paper. I really liked that one. I think that's called Maroon. And then I flip-flopped about a little bit for the other one, but I did ultimately end up using, I think I used the turquoise. I can't remember now. I think it was that one. You can see I went back and forth. Which one? Yeah, I did. Turquoise, yay! So I've added little bits of glue to the back of each of those pieces. They've stayed in the die, and then I'm just going to, rather than trying to turn them over and them all fall out, I'm just going to plonk that other piece of cardstock down onto all those pieces, and really carefully turn it over, trying to hold it all in one place so that it doesn't shift. And then I just used a pokey tool to poke all of the pieces so that they'd release from the die and attach to the cardstock. And like, how easy is that? And it's so cute. So there was just those little tiny little pieces that I hadn't added glue to because I couldn't decide whether I was going to or not. But yeah, I decided that I was. So I did poke those through as well. And then you've got a really cool, beautiful background. It is smaller than the cover die because the cover die comes with, it's got like a border around it, which this hasn't. I could have cut a border around it, but I decided not to ultimately. I cut it straight to the actual pieces because of how they were cut off. I thought that would just look better. So I trimmed that down, and there's background number 1. And yeah, it's a bit more fiddly than just throwing those pieces in the bin, but you know, why waste not, want not? Why would we throw those pieces in the bin? They are so cute, and it makes a really pretty background. And it really was so easy because of all those pieces being in the die. I appreciated that muchly, and I really like how that came out. So for the positive of the die itself, I'm just going to add that onto some turquoise. So the positive piece with the border around, that is actually an A2 panel size, and the other one is smaller. So as I mentioned earlier in the month, this month was the first time that I've tried these crafter flowers, and boy, I was hooked. I just loved making it. It's amazing. So this time I cut most of the pieces from white, and I'm just adding some grey on to make it, I wanted it to look like a white flower that just has some shadow. And that was just really easy to do. I just added increasing I think I started with the C1 and went to C3, just to give me some shadow, and that worked out really well. So I cut the very back piece from that maroon cardstock to give me little maroon spots. I haven't focused too much on how to put this together in this video because I have already done that, so I will have that linked. I'll pop it up in a card, so you can go and check that out if you want some more detail on how to put this together. But here, yeah, I wanted a white flower, and then I've added some blue. I realised that I hadn't stuck down the other piece before I stuck down that one, but it's fine. It's fine. It worked out. It all worked out in the end. So I added a bit of blue there, and there on those little pieces. I just quite like having quite a contrast of colour. And yeah, I just finished it all off in the same way again, like I said in that other video. But with the leaves, there's 3 layers to the leaves. So what I did, I cut all 3 layers from the same, it's from actually the same turquoise cardstock, and for the base layer I just left it as it was, but the next layer I added C1 over it, and the next layer I added C3 over it. So because you've got that coloured cardstock, it's not going to go grey, it's just going to make it appear slightly darker. So that's going to give us our shadow pieces without needing to own like 500 billion types of cardstock, which not all of us have got. So there's a way that you can sort of trick using the same cardstock to do these layering dies, by just adding some grey to change the colour a little bit. So yeah, I just love how that flower all comes together, and the leaves, I did 3 of the leaves. So I stuck that onto the turquoise background with the positive cut out from the die. I'm just going to get them in place where I think looks nice, and then stick it down. I did use quite a lot of dimensional tape and foam squares and things because I like me some dimension. So you can see there are parts where I've got just glue and parts where I've got some foam adhesive. So I decided how I wanted those pieces to look, and then I used that piece of low tack tape to hold them together so that I could pick it up in one go and put glue and tape on the back and then stamp it down. So I'm going to use the brand new All About You sentiment die set to make my sentiment, but to complete the sentiment I've added a stamped sub-sentiment from the UR stamp set, which is a much older one, but again we'll have it linked. So I cut the U out of some of the dark blue cardstock, but I felt like it got a little bit lost. So in order to rectify that, I cut the U again from £110 Nina cardstock. I cut it twice, and I've just stacked them up but offset the white slightly so that it just looks like I've got a bit of a white drop shadow kind of effect. And then I just added that sub-sentiment underneath. I trimmed it out, so my sentiment on there is "You are amazing," and I think that's really cute. Now the second card, my camera died so I don't have filming of how I actually finished that, but basically what I did, I created a floral element from the Sisters of the Heart set, stamped the smallest image from that, and I coloured it using the colouring stencils. Again, I have done that earlier this month, so I will link to that as well if you want more detail of how that works. But I just basically coloured them in some warm greys, and then I added a sentiment to that, and both parts of that sentiment are from the All About You die set that's new. So I hope that you like the cards. I'm really happy with how they came together. And yeah, if you haven't already checked out the new release, then I really suggest you do. It is awesome. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe if you aren't already. I would really, really love that. I hope that you have a lovely, happy, safe, wonderful week. All the things. Stay crafty. Bye.